Welcome back, everyone, to the new episode of Keeping Up with the Pat, the fourth episode. It's your boy D'Lo, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Austin Wolf. And before we get too deep into what this episode is going to be about, I want to give a big shout out to my co-host Austin Wolf for holding it down last episode as I went out of town for my final job interview. And guess what? Your boy D'Lo is going to be the new district manager at Aldi. So after I graduate in May, starting in June, I'm going to start my full-time job at Aldi, and Austin's going to be taking over the show into next year with a co-host of his choosing. But now, since we got that out, we got a great show coming for you guys as we got two special guests coming in. One being a student here at Northwood University, talking about the Project 100 as she was a part of the counseling group that won, talking about the goals going forward and how it's going to help spread the mental health awareness on Northwood's campus. Then, just so you think it can't get any better, we have the director and esports coach at Northwood University, Cody, coming in to talk about the recent esports success that Northwood's been experiencing and the goals going forward into the year as well. But before we get into that, we wanted to start by covering some highlights from around campus, mostly being Northwood is coming to Detroit. We have two NU student nights, the first being Thursday, February 9th with the Detroit Red Wings, and the second one being Wednesday, March 1st with the Detroit Pistons. The campus will be providing discounted tickets, free rides to the game, and even some limited memorabilia. Make sure you're looking out for that in your email. Now it's time to get into our first interview with Zyla Kadriu, a student who works with the Counseling Center and is going to talk about the initiatives they've been taking to improve the quality of life of students here on campus. Welcome back, Pat. Back in studio. It's your boy D'Lo, and I'm here with my co-host, as always, Austin. And we're here with a special guest in studio, someone who's been at Northwood for the last 4 years, along with being someone who's going to walk the stage with me in May. I'm looking forward to that. While also being a recent mock trial edition, along with being a volleyball player here at Northwood University. And just when you think it can't get any better, she's a student assistant at the Counseling Center here at Northwood University. Welcome in, Zyla. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem at all. Well, just to kick off the show, I know recently you just came off a winning the Project 100 fund with the Counseling Center here at Northwood University. I just want to ask, how much work did it take to get that, and what are the plans going forward after winning that endowment?
But yeah, to be a part of the winning project, it's such a great feeling. And it took a lot of work, a lot of hard work, for which I can't take any credit for. It is actually Lauren Bennett, who is another student athlete here at Northwood, who came up with the idea and implemented it all by herself at her previous school. And seeing the success that it had, she decided to bring it here with her when she transferred. So she presented the idea to Andy Sovis, who is the director of the counseling center. And Andy is extremely open to ideas with a student perspective. So he began to looking for resources immediately and suggested to us that we apply for Project 100. So, and that's where I play a small part in. And my role was more focused in conceptualizing what kind of approach we're going to take when we pitch this to the donors, because and I think the hardest part was whether to go with more so a moral argument or to do a business pitch, because we are at a business school with very business oriented people. So I think we decided to do a combination of both. So mentioning how this I Hear You project is going to help reduce the stigma around mental health on campus, but as well, it's going to be a recruitment and retention asset for Northwood. And what I mean by that is, as a retention asset, I think we're going to see an increase in re-enrollment after the implementation of this project. And as well, it's going to be a recruitment asset because our generation, it's although academic success is still a priority, I'd say that the very first thing that prospective students consider when looking what college they want to go to is it's kind of seeing what that college offers or what their efforts are to improve their overall well-being as students and help them thrive. So We pitched this to the donors, and it really spoke to them, I think. So we are so grateful for their support.
Yeah, and as someone else that competed in that competition against you, we can say for sure you had a wonderful pitch. It all came together really well. The I
Thank
Hear You
you.
project was the name of it you guys went with. And could you just tell our listeners a little bit about what that is and how it's going to help students here at Northwood?
Yeah, so how this project came about, Lauren noticed an increase of students kind of demanding counseling services, especially at COVID. But because of the understaffed counseling center at her school, she thought of this idea, and this is also backed by data that young adults and students, especially, they turn to their to their peers for support and like we vent to them, we tell them what we're struggling with, but it's hard to have those difficult conversations. So Lauren had the idea of picking a few students, initially a few students, and then it became a bigger thing, but just so they can get mental health first aid certified. And because of that, they would be more comfortable with having these conversations with their peers or their teammates or their classmates. So that's really what the project is, and I think it's going to be such a great addition to our campus, and I just can't wait for it to be implemented.
Honestly, me neither. It sounds like it's going to help a lot of kids, a lot of students.
No, seriously, seriously. And kind of piggybacking off that, I saw on your LinkedIn that you recently went to Kansas City for a mental health conference. I wanted to ask, was that something that Northwood sent you out on? And what all did you learn from that to help improve the Northwood community once you got back here?
Yeah, well, I would love to talk about some of the key points that I took from that conference. I mean, it was such an incredible experience. There were so many richly informative sessions and presenters who shared these approaches to mental health in higher education. But there was, I could literally talk for hours about this. I took notes and, I have a full notebook full of notes, but a reoccurring theme that I heard a lot was how a sense of belonging plays into student well-being. And their definition of belonging was belonging is the extent to which an individual feels valued, accepted, and a legitimate member of a community. And so let's see. So how this plays in education, for example, if a student is struggling in their academic performance or athletic or social life, that is not necessarily the issue, that is the outcome.
Mm.
And to change that outcome, we have to fix that root cause. So they used a lot this analogy, which was soil and seeds, and soil being the school system, and then seeds being the students. And um, based on them, it's for to help students thrive and really flourish in at our school, at our campus. We really got to create this school system that is inclusive and diverse so that anyone who comes here feels like they belong here.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so crucial. And it is definitely not a one person's job or just one department. We are a small school, which
Yeah.
plays into our advantage because we're so interconnected, and any small changes or improvement that we make can just have such a big impact in all of our students. So I think it's really important that we collectively start inclusive and intentional efforts to create this sense of belonging among students. So that's something that, really stood out and was remarkable
Mm.
from this conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that was something as someone myself coming to Northwood from Southern Ohio, obviously nowhere near the distance that you traveled to get here, but initially I kind of felt out of place. And I know something that helped me a lot was getting involved with things and joining clubs and joining a fraternity and starting things like this, even though that didn't come around to our fourth year, just constantly looking for ways to get ourselves embraced in the community. Do you think that's something that students should be trying to do that they can kind of do on their own that would also help?
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk from my experience as well, because, like you said, I came from a different country to this new world and I didn't really know anyone. Didn't like that sense of belonging was really, really low. And to be honest, I really struggled my first 2 years here. And it wasn't until I started getting more involved with the community and on campus. Like I got the job at the counseling center, which definitely turned my life here at Northwood around. And I just saw an increase in my academic performance, athletics, social life, like my relationships to others and to myself. And recently joining the mock trial team, which I highly encourage to anyone on campus who's struggling to kind of find a community, because it's such a great team to be a part of, so supportive. And so, yeah, I totally agree with you. Getting involved as much as you can helps with that feeling of like just being a valued member at the school. And then students are more likely to seek out and like navigate and access the resources that we have at Northwood. They're more likely to go to financial advising or academic advising or go to TLC because they feel like they deserve um, and they belong here. And, I think it's such a great thing to do that. So,
Yeah, man, terrific answer. And it really helps lead into my next one that I did want to ask with, like how Austin said, you're from a long distance away from Michigan. Like, and you being an international student, I wanted to ask, like, how was it from the start of being here at Northwood? Like, how did you end up at Northwood? And as you get ready to prepare to walk the stage in May, what things are you going to take away from your experience here?
yeah, well, I was blessed to be recruited by the volleyball team here, and absolutely an opportunity that completely changed the path of my life. And but being an international student for sure comes with its sets of challenges. Obviously, being far away from family is probably the biggest one. But just adapting to the differences in culture or even like the way that we communicate, it's so different. So um but I've met so many amazing people in and outside of Northwood who really helped me create a support system and just, feel like I do belong here and I do deserve to be here. So there's one person in particular, and his name is Jeremiah Lee, that I would like to mention. He no longer works here, but he was the director of the international students. And if you've been here for a longer time, like 2, 3 years, you've probably know
He
Jeremiah
was a good
because
man.
he
He was
was
great.
so involved with all like student life groups. Like he was involved with the Black Student Union, he was involved with the LGBTQ community. Um, he was just incredibly a supportive system here at Northwood, and someone that I always knew I can count on, especially because he had that experience of living abroad himself. And I know that I can still count on. And that's something that I think that Northwood does such a great job at. Is hiring people with the right experience for the job. And we see this especially in the classroom. Our professors have years of experience in their respective fields, and the subject that they teach on, like they have walked the walk for sure. And so it's just an incredible thing to be learning from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a learning experience here at Northwood for sure. But I am so grateful because I don't think I would be the person that I am today without having to go through that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, coming from a far away, you like to see the world. You've now lived in the States for a few years. Is that something you want to do once you graduate? Stay in the States? Or are you wanting to go back home, go see another part of the world? What's coming up next for Zula?
This is a question that I've been getting asked a lot because I'll be graduating soon. And honestly, I don't have an answer yet. And I think I just want to really communicate this to anyone who's graduating soon. And it's okay to not have an answer yet,
It is, absolutely.
There's so many it's so stressful like deciding what path you're going to take on. And some of us are really good at planning out our life, but some of us, including me, are just, we're still contemplating what path we're going to take. So I'm embracing Wu Wei. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this.
Sounds a little familiar. A little.
It's a Chinese statement or concept of effortless action or just kind of like going with the
Let it
flow.
flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just embracing that and we'll see where life takes me.
I love it. I love it. Well, Zula, thank you for coming on the show. Before we wrap this up, is there anything you want to say to the Northwood community and to the pack that, is something you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I would argue that this is the most important thing that I have said today. If whoever's watching this, if you're a currently enrolled Northwood student, whether you're part-time, full-time, on or off campus, if you are struggling, you don't have to go through it alone. There is resources on campus that can help you with it, whether it is career advising, financial advising, academic, but more importantly, if you are struggling with mental health, there is an incredible trained professional here on campus to support you through it so you don't have to do it alone. And I would highly encourage for you to seek out those resources because you matter and Northwood cares. So the easiest way to do it is if you go to Blackboard and find the Counseling Center page. Right at the top is the link that will take you to the booking system. It's such an easy thing to do. It will take you literally less than 2 minutes, but it's going to have such a great impact in your life. And so, yeah, just remember that you don't have to go through it alone.
Oh man, thank you, Zula. You touched my heart with that one, and I'm gonna make sure to tell my own personal circles if they don't watch this episode. It's a shame, but definitely spread the news that we do got somebody on campus looking to help out all the students around here. And now, going forward, I just want to say this episode is far from being over. We have coming up next the head director and esport head coach Cody coming on to talk about the Northwood esport team success and how we've been rocking and killing it. So don't go anywhere and stay tuned. Welcome back, guys, to our second interview of the show. And right now, we have the head director slash coach of the esports team here at Northwood University, here to talk about the recent success and everything that's been going on. But before we get into all that, Cody, I just want to ask, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. I'm super excited to be here. I've listened to quite a few things that have you guys have created the last semester, and it's cool to be a part of the show and hopping on here with you guys.
Thank you, thank you. And just to get right into it, I've been hearing about a lot of recent success that the esports team has been having from a world championship, and then even as far as back as last year with the Call of Duty championship. I just want to just ask this: what all has the esports team been winning in, and what are the strides going forward?
Yeah, so most recently we won the World Championship for Valorant in Brazil. And that started like 6,000 teams in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and we came out on top there as well. That was a little bit, not saying it was easier, but a little bit easier tournament. Not as many countries and teams, but I know it's going to continue to grow. And then actually go back to December, we won 4 out of 5 national championships for different games. Valorant, Super Smash Brothers, Call of Duty, and why am I missing the last one? Oh, and Rocket League again. And then we won. Then we won. Those were like NACE, which is like I guess basically our conference, right? It's really bigger than a conference because it's all the varsity programs in the country in there. But so a lot of the clubs are in their club teams. Because some of the club teams are really good in college esports at bigger colleges. Yeah. But we won those, and then previously in April we won back in June again in Columbus, Ohio, we won the Call of Duty National Championship, and one of our players, Kevin, ended up getting signed to the Minnesota Rockers in the professional Call of Duty league now, living out in Minnesota. So it's pretty cool to have that happen. But yeah, no, it's been a great year. I don't know how we topped this last year, to be honest with you, but we might be able to. We'll have to see. But yeah, it's been a great ride, and I'm just proud of our players. Yeah, they're just talented. I feel like I'm more so along for the ride, honestly, with how good they are. But yeah, it's been a good experience.
Good. Well, we know for sure the program wouldn't be what it is without you. So we're definitely gonna make sure you get your flowers too. But I know that most of these games they're team sports, right? So I know we have a lot of different people involved in the program. Do you know roughly how many students we have competing on behalf of Northwood in esports?
Yeah, so so if you have like our players competing, then we also have like casters, streamers, like operational managers and stuff that we've recruited for all students. So we're at right now a total roster of 126.
Wow.
Across everything, yeah, and that is it's really cool, and that combines grad school and undergrad as well. So it's not all undergrad, but
is there different competitive leagues for grad school and undergrad?
No, it's all the same. Just like NCAA, like you can play
certain years of eligibility.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Right. And kind of like how Austin just said, like I definitely feel like we wouldn't have the success we have if it wasn't for you coming to our school and choosing our school to start the esports program. And that's something that really stands out to me. Yes, we're such a small school. What made you choose Northwood and decide to co-chair and start this program that's been so successful here?
Yeah, so I'm actually from Midland. I'm a native Midlander. I graduated from Dow High.
Okay, makes sense.
And I knew Northwood was starting this, and I was already had experience in the professional scene for a while. And my wife and I just moved back to Midland. We lived in Chicago for about 5 years,
Got it.
and it was just a natural fit for me to start it.
Right.
And Northwood really got behind it especially when Kent McDonald came in and really saw the potential, the new president. And ever since then, it's been treated, just like a sport at the school.
Definitely.
And we offer scholarships, and we travel. We're well supported by the school, and yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. To be honest with you, it was just a good fit for me, being local, moving back, and my wife and I wanted to start a family, so I've had 2 kids since I started working at Northwood, and yeah, so I've been here since I guess January of 2019, and it's been fun, for sure.
Multiple world championships in 3 years with a program.
With 2 kids.
Yeah, right? Becoming a father on top of it. It's very, very impressive. So as much as the students are great, we can't diminish what you've been
appreciate
able to
that.
contribute for sure.
But now leading on to my next question, I now want to ask, what are the goals going forward for the esports team as you guys keep winning national championship after national championship? From what I'm hearing around, because I was trying to do a little research into esports, I'm seeing that programs are starting to grow more, starting to offer more scholarship money and stuff like that. So how is Northwood going to be able to keep this type of success going forward as the other schools like Michigan, Ohio State are going to try to use their capital just to get everybody in their school? So how does Northwood continue to grow and stand out in esports?
Well, I think we've kind of we kind of took the approach from the beginning of like a Duke basketball type of a thing with it, right? So we wanted to be known specifically for this, and we wanted to establish a name from the beginning, and I think we've established enough of a legacy and like of a prestige for our esports program that we'll be able to compete with them for sure. Though I don't think it's going to affect it a whole lot. I just really don't, because honestly, right now, a lot of big schools do have programs and they're supporting it, and it's also
still winning.
well, it's also a lack of. It's such a new industry. It's when you go to try to hire someone, it's hard to find a candidate that fits at these schools. So we have that advantage over them right now, where we have a really good supportive staff. My assistant, Coach Jacob's amazing as well, and he's a big reason for our success over the last year. And it's more so just like I think we have our name established, and as long as we keep staying up with what other schools are doing, we'll be fine.
Definitely.
It's easy when you have the Nick Saban at esports to keep recruiting people. It's definitely an easy thing to do.
I'm not there. I'm not quite there yet, but
It's a lot of world championships, Cody. It's a lot of them.
A lot.
Now, you mentioned that we give out scholarships on behalf of some of these players. If someone watching this right now wanted to be able to get into that esports field, what are some steps they could take to kind of become on Northwood's radar and put themselves in that conversation?
Yeah, the biggest thing is to fill out like our inquiry form on the website. The reason why I say that is me and my assistant are very busy. So if we don't see that, someone else is going to see that, and we're going to get notified. That's the biggest thing, and then you'll get put in contact with us, and then show us what you got. Send us some highlights. Send us like your Twitch stream. Send us like your profile so we can look at your statistics. We'll definitely run by your username and your profile by our current players, see what they think. But yeah, that's the best way, is that inquiry form. But we also we're as much as we win everything, our roster is not made up of 126 dominant players, right? So it's probably like 30 to 40 really elite players, and the rest are players that want to get better. They want to actively play, but they're willing to put in the work, and they might not play a whole lot until they're junior, senior, but
they want to grow.
They're willing to put in the work, and we take anybody that's got passion, honestly.
Exactly.
We'll find a spot for you for sure.
Exactly.
What resources does Northwood offer to students to be able to do that, to continue getting better?
So obviously the coaching, we do a little bit of outside type of consulting as well, with some of the professional players from teams out there, have them look at stuff. But and then the big thing that we do that a lot of colleges don't do is our lab is accessible 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to our players.
Beautiful lab.
To really play, because a lot of our players will play in leagues that are, you know, the default time zones like out in California, right? So
Okay, yeah.
they need to be in there late, you know,
Right.
especially on Saturday or Sunday. So it's a huge competitive advantage, honestly. The more you practice, like the better you get, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely,
So it's
for
kind of like
sure.
the same analogy with athletics. Like if you're lifting weights an hour a day, there's probably someone out there lifting weights and competing 2 hours a day.
Right.
There's always somebody out there outworking you, but you got to have the
drive.
facilities to allow your students to
Mhm.
you know, really put as much as they want into the game as they possibly can.
Definitely. And even going off that point, we got a friend who recently joined the mock trials team for like a tournament or two, and he's on the esports team,
Yeah.
John Paul Burns.
Yep, JP.
And he talked highly of you, and he's talked about how you were definitely somebody who was grade first before the game. Actually, he was saying how you said if you didn't have this certain GPA average or your grades weren't right, you weren't even on the team playing the game. And that's kind of what leads me into this question. Is there a GPA requirement to, one, be on the teams that are going to these tournaments? And then two, how many years of eligibility do you have? Because, you know, like when you do football, you get redshirted a year, then you get your extra 4 years, or if you do the graduate year, you can get an extra year. So with esports, can you literally just play until you really graduate out of school, or?
Yeah, it's typically like 5 to 6 years depending on the league, but we rarely see anybody go past, you know, the 5-year mark. But like our biggest thing is you know, we have our own internal rules. You know, everybody's pretty much just got to be in good standing, meeting satisfactory progress to play, similar to athletics. You know, that's kind of what we modeled it after.
Definitely.
But yeah, we definitely want to make sure people are going to class, and we monitor that. And we've, you know, the more you go to class, the easier it is to get good grades. I think you guys both know that. Half the battle is going to class, and you're going to be successful. So
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Cody, just for coming in and blessing and keeping up with the pack with just your knowledge and just for sharing it with the community for the people who are either our alumni or students thinking about coming to Northwood to be on the esports team. It meant a lot for you to come in. And then lastly, just to come to Northwood, because I literally talk about to my friends all the time that our esports team is amazing. Where was it at when we were in high school? Like if I would have known playing Modern Warfare 2 all night could have really led to this, I would have definitely kept playing. But hey, I'm just happy to have it around now, and I'm grateful that you came in.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you both for having me. It's been awesome. And anytime you guys want me back, I always love talking about esports or business or anything. So
definitely
appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, thank you, viewers and watchers, alumni, students of all kinds, just for coming in and checking out this 4th episode of Keeping Up with the Pack. We definitely got more coming soon, even probably an episode from somebody really special that you definitely want to check out after this one is posted. But hey, just stay tuned and keep keeping up with the pack. Man,
Good job, guys. Good job.